welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, November 16th, 2016. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. President of the New Democratic Party and opposition leader Arnim Eustace has announced his decision to resign from his post after 16 years of leadership. Speaking at a Central Committee meeting last evening, Eustace, who has opted to remain as a constituency representative for East Kingstown, noted that he would accordingly inform Governor General Sir Frederick Ballantyne of his decision and that in accordance with the Constitution of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the elected members of the NDP, including himself, would advise the Governor General of whom they support as the new opposition leader. Eustace, who have made his contribution to the party since his appointment in 2001, outlined that it was time to pass on the baton to someone else. He further added that he is fully prepared to lend support to his successor as leader of the opposition and president of the NDP. Members present at the executive meeting praised and thanked Mr. Eustace for his outstanding contribution to the party and to the country and pledged to host a special event in honor of his long and dedicated service. The New Democratic Party said it will hold an extraordinary convention on November 27, 2016 at Democrat House, Kingstown, to elect a new party leader. And one of the vice presidents of the New Democratic Party and Member of Parliament for Central Kingstown, Major Sinclair Leacock, said if given the opportunity to lead the party and to become the next opposition leader, he will take up the mantle. Leacock told SVG-TV News earlier today that while Eustace's contribution to the party has been sterling, there must be continued development within the NDP.
If you are presented with that answer, would you accept that?
With both hands. With both hands, body, soul and mind.
That's the view of Major Sinclair Leacock as he confirmed his readiness and willingness to take up duties as leader of the New Democratic Party and opposition leader if given the opportunity. After leading the NDP for some 16 years, at a Central Committee meeting on Tuesday night, November 15, 2016, Arnim Eustace announced his intentions to step down as both party leader and opposition leader. Since the news broke, many persons have been asking the question who will take up the mantle to lead the party, and one of the persons who stands out is Major Sinclair Leacock, the Member of Parliament for Central Kingstown. In an interview with SVG-TV News this afternoon, Leacock says Eustace's departure opens the door for the implementation of new strategies, which would result in a bright future for the NDP.
At this time, there's going to be a need for us to do some rebranding of the New Democratic Party. We have to continue all that has been good in the Eustace tradition, but we have to be focused and strategic. I'm using big words. But we also have to be very robust in the context of who we are facing as a government. The Ralph Gonsalves administration is not an easy pushover and cannot be taken lightly, nor are their own succession plans. Let's not forget that they do have their leadership issues postponed temporarily, but they too will have that day when they will have to face a leadership change.
When asked about the speculations as to who might be Eustace's successor, Leacock says the focus must remain on the way forward for the party and not its members.
This is really not an opportunity about us who are presented with that opportunity. It is about the 30,000 plus people who support the New Democratic Party and who wish for us to keep hope alive and to continue with a shared vision that would see us into office.
The NDP's vice president, however, did not shy away from acknowledging the possibility of tensions within the party as they get ready to elect a new leader. Leacock says it is only natural for the development of competition amongst members, but their maturity will ultimately speak for itself. He adds that to ensure a smooth transition and a better way forward for the NDP, they must target the nation's young demographic as well as the vulnerable.
The party has to look down the road and begin to pay a little bit more attention to the young professionals who should try to attract people 40, 45, and even younger for that matter to the party, who bring experience and humility and national development commitment to the table and invest significantly in them. In addition, the party cannot afford to be unmindful of the demographics that 2/3 of the country are perhaps under the age of 30, 35.
Praising the outgoing leader, Anim Eustace, for a job well done in leading the party over the years, Leacock, however, notes that Eustace's decision is a timely one.
If we had had a general election in this year, 2016, coming out of the court petition, the Straker challenge and other related matters, I would have had no difficulty at all with Mr. Eustace leading the party into those elections. Even if we went over into 2017, especially in the early half, I think Mr. Eustace is still within the ballpark of leading the party into that challenge. But realistically, 2020, it's a little bit off because it would mean that Mr. Eustace would be in office at age 80, thereabout. You know, it happens in the United States of America, and even with the best of health, you know, it's a hill to climb. So from that point of view, you can say time was against him, as it would be against me not long from now.
A new leader is expected to be announced at the party's convention later this month. Nolisha Miller, The Evening News.
St. Vincent and the Grenadines has suffered a 40% loss and damage to the country's GDP between 2010 to present day as a result of natural disasters, with the 2013 Christmas Eve floods accounting for 17% of this loss and damage. These statistics were given by Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves in his address at the high-level segment of the United Nations Climate Change Conference in Morocco this past Tuesday. PM Gonsalves was among representatives from several nations who welcomed the entry into the fold of the Paris Agreement, which brings all nations into a common cause to undertake ambitious efforts to combat climate change and adapt to its effects, which enhance support to assist in developing countries. Additionally, the agreement aims to strengthen the ability of countries to deal with the impacts of climate change, appropriate financial flows, a new technology framework, and an enhanced capacity building framework will be put in place to reach these goals, thus supporting action by developing countries and the most vulnerable countries in line with their own national objectives. PM Gonsalves reiterated the call for other developing countries to simplify access to climate funds and further stressed the importance of allocating substantial resources to climate resilience. He also told the gathering that this year 1/3 of SVG's total capital budget has been directed towards the strengthening of the country's resilience to natural disasters, which is separate from additional money spent on loss and damage as a result of climate change. He noted that the allocation of substantial resources to climate resilience adds hugely to SVG's public debt. First-year students at the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Community College were today educated on the possible breaches under the Cybercrime Act pertaining to cyber security and cyber criminal activities. The sensitization workshop was hosted by the Ministry of Economic Planning, Sustainable Development, Industry, Labor and Information in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, the National Telecommunications Regulatory Commission, the NTRC, and the Director of Public Prosecution. Minister of Economic Planning and Sustainable Development, Camelo Gonsalves, used the opportunity to encourage the students to take advantage of the development of information technology.
You're college students, you're interested in technology. There are also tremendous opportunities in cybercrime. There are jobs in cybercrime. And when you're thinking about all of the bad things that happen online and all of the bad things that happen in cybercrime, remember that every one of those bad things also has a job attached to it. There'll be jobs in enforcement, there'll be jobs in building technological resilience, there'll be jobs in protecting children, there'll be jobs in tracking down some of these cyber criminals, and those are jobs that you could be doing. So when you think about cybercrime, don't just think that it's don't do this, don't do that, this is bad. Think about it as a potential career path.
He further explained to the students the purpose of the cybercrime bill, stating that it is aimed at protecting persons from any form of cybercrime.
All became potential criminals and potential victims. And we have to make rules when everybody is a potential criminal or a potential victim. Once upon a time in the Wild West, everybody walked around with a gun on their hip, and there were no laws. But when everybody had a gun, eventually they had to make gun laws, because people were just going around shooting each other. Now all of you have on your hip a tool or a device that can make you a criminal or make you a victim. And when you go home, you sit in front of a tool or a device that can make you a criminal or can make you a victim. And we have to have a structure to protect the victims and prosecute the criminals. And that is what the Cybercrime Act is.
The Ministry of Health, Wellness and the Environment is asking the general public to desist from using the Park Hill Connery River until advice given. The recent land slippage which has taken place at the former Park Hill Public Cemetery. In a news release, the ministry states that it has reason to believe that materials from the cemetery have found their way into the nearby stream and can compromise the health of all users. The ministry thanked the general public for the usual support and pledges its commitment to work along with stakeholders towards resolving this problem in the shortest possible time. Meanwhile, all persons who have relatives buried in the old Park Hill Cemetery or have knowledge of the persons buried there are invited to a meeting at the South Rivers Learning Resource Center tomorrow, Thursday, November 17th from 4:30 p.m. The meeting is to discuss the recent landslide at the cemetery and the proposed action plan. Police here have launched an investigation into the murder of Sean Dopwell, a 48-year-old male of Paul's Avenue. About 9:50 p.m. Tuesday, November 15, 2016, the deceased was said to be leaving the Victoria Park after attending a football game when he was attacked by an unknown assailant outside the park. Dopwell received 4 bullets to his body. He was pronounced dead at 10:10 p.m. at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. The murder brings the total number of homicides for the year to 32. Members of the public with information that can assist with the investigation can contact the Criminal Investigations Department at telephone numbers 4571-211 or 4562906 or 4561810. A post-mortem examination will be carried out to determine the cause of Dopwell's death. And earlier today, the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force operations taking illicit firearms off the streets netted 3 firearms as well as ammunitions. The operation was carried out by members of the Georgetown Police Station who arrested Andy Craig of Georgetown and Waynard Mapp, whose address is given as Calder and Georgetown. The police say they found a Morse Bodge 12-gauge shotgun with 4 rounds ammunition, 1 Stallard Arms 9mm pistol with 31 rounds of ammunition, a .25mm pistol with 8 rounds of ammunition, and 3 rounds of .22 ammunition. The police continue to investigate the matter. Members of the public with information regarding these firearms and ammunition can contact the Criminal Investigations Department at telephone numbers 4571211 or 4562906 or 4561810 or the Georgetown Police Station at 4586229. Students who sat the 2016 examinations for their CSEC CAPE and associate degrees will be awarded this Friday with a $500 gift for their performance. To qualify for the award, CSEC students must have gained 5 passes, grades 1 to 3, including mathematics and English A. CAPE students must have gained passes, grades 1 to 5, in at least 2 unit subjects, as well as in the single unit communication studies in 2 consecutive years. Students in the various associate degree programs must have gained at least a B- average. The total number of recipients is 722, categorized as follows: CSEC 447, CAPE 173, and associate degrees 102. Of the recipients who gain associate degrees and will receive this award, 71 are from the SVG Community Division of Arts, Sciences and General Studies and the Division of Technical and Vocational Education, 30 from the primary program and 1 from the early childhood program at the Division of Teacher Education. Recipients of the award are asked to present themselves at the Villa campus of the SVG Community College at 12 noon on Friday with proof of identity bearing a photograph. Farmers as well as other stakeholders in the agriculture sector got the opportunity today to learn more about the use of biopesticides for use in farming as the Ministry of Agriculture, in collaboration with the Taiwan Agricultural Research Institute, hosted a workshop today at the Fisheries Conference Room. Speaking at the opening of the workshop, Dr. Rafiq Bailey said producing vegetables today is a challenging enterprise due to pests and diseases which affects all areas of the plant. Dr. Bailey said the workshop forms part of a project which aims to boost fruit and vegetable production technology in SVG and highlighted initiatives such as a soil testing lab, which would not only give farmers valuable information about the soil they plant on, but also assist in reducing farmers' dependency on harmful pesticides.
Interventions are being made under the project, and some of these were mentioned before. Among these, we are setting up the soil analysis laboratory at Camden Park so that farmers would better know the condition of their soil and the nutrients available to the plants. They will be able to make decisions about what types of fertilizers to apply and so on. In terms of the pesticide residue testing, we have set up a lab at Camden Park also, and we are using this lab to test the farmers' production, their tomatoes, sweet peppers, to see if they're using too much pesticides, because we all know the detrimental effect of pesticides on our health and the environment.
Dr. Bailey expressed hope that farmers would take advantage of the various initiatives which the Ministry of Agriculture has introduced, such as the production of biofertilizers, and encourage participants at the workshop to use the information given to their benefit.
Producing biofertilizers to help our farmers to improve the condition of their soil. And this have started at Rivulet and at Orange Hill. We are also developing tech parks for the production of vegetables. We are also improving the capacity to diagnose plant diseases, both from the ministry standpoint and from the farmer's standpoint. And today we are learning about the production of biopesticides. In his presentation, Dr. Lin will explain to you some of the benefits of biopesticides and some methods of application, among other things. Hopefully you will take some of these new ideas and concepts and implement them on your farm.
Focusing on reaching out to the abused youth in this Vincentian society, the Anointed Radical Mighty Youth Army Youth Ministries will host a convention from this Friday, November 18th to Sunday, November 20th, 2016 at the Victoria Park to provide spiritual and physical motivation to the nation's youth. In an interview with SVG-TV News earlier today, the group's president, Raquel Crease, said through their free counseling center, the group has been able to provide support and guidance to several youngsters there and aims to do greater work in communities across SVG.
starting at 6:30 p.m. nightly, where we can reach these young people on a spiritual basis, letting them know that without God, you can't survive this life. And the situations that you go through in life, humanity might not understand, but one thing we can guarantee them is that God will understand. So we're really trying to reach to these young people that, okay, fine, you're going through life, you might feel suicidal, you might feel that all hope is lost, but we are telling them all hope is not lost because God is still there and He is still waiting to help them through the situation. So this convention is geared towards giving them that sense of hope and strength that they will need to feel better about themselves, to really get the help that they need to move forward, have a hope, have something to live for again.
Chris pointed out that the convention also seeks to break down barriers among denominations, as they must all stand united in addressing issues which affect the nation, especially among the youth.
Let's come together. We see what is happening in our nation. So much teens are getting killed. So much young men and women are losing their lives. And we as a church have to come together as one unit to pray so that God can hear us and help our nation to be a better place to live. If we don't do that as a church, then the nation will continue to suffer. If we continue to say, okay, I belong, I'm an Adventist, so therefore I don't have no part in Pentecostal, then our nation will continually break down. The government cannot do it. Only God can do it. And so we're calling on the pastors and members to break down your thoughts on how you view churches, and let's come together as one.
Thanking all sponsors and other persons involved in making the event possible, Chris urged all youth and the overall Vincentian public to come out and experience the weekend of activities, which she said will aid in the revitalization of youth development here in SVG.
Asking all young people, Leeward, Windward, to come out. We would have counselors on hand to deal with every situation. We have prayer teams on hand to deal with every abuse victim, every person who feels worthless, every person who feels there is no hope left. We are saying there is sense of hope. And Sunday, which is the 20th, we have that fundraising to build our institution, whereby we're gonna house sexually abused teens. So in that institution, we would have rehabilitation programs to rehabilitate not only the young person, but the family or the social aspect of it. So that way people can really recognize that, okay, everybody play a role in this young person fitting back into society. So that Sunday we will be charging a very small fee, $10 for adults, $5 for children, and that money will go to the building of this institution.